It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. Welcome to the Dep Lewis Show, episode 160. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is Sunday, December 21st, 2025. A great day for a podcast about video games and more. So I hope you're doing great out there in the world, wherever and whenever you're listening to this. Thank you so much for being here. The first order of business is to ask you to follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. So find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. YouTube is also a great place to watch me play some games live or check out the videos later. If you would like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show is available if you'd like to subscribe monthly. Also, Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you would like to support the show. Today's show will have three sections as always. The first section, I'll tell you about what video games I've been playing since I've last talked to you on this microphone. The mid section, which is the middle of the show, it's not mid in quality. That's where I tell you about everything going on around the video game world that you need to know. And the third and final section is a break from all the video game talk, the Miscellaneous talk section. And this section is usually reserved for the worldwide world of sports. And that's kind of the case today too. I'm going to tell you about what's going on with all my favorite teams. And my favorite NFL team, the Carolina Panthers, are set to play in Charlotte in about 2 hours in real time against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a battle for the division. So I'm excited about that. And I have more sports stuff to catch you up on. I actually went to a sporting event last week. So I'll get to all of that in the final section. But before all that, we got a lot of video game talk to get through. So let's get into it. So let's start with the first section of the show. So what have I been playing since I've last talked to you? I've been playing some games that I think are in contention for Game of the Year for the Dep Lewis Show. And the first one is Mario Kart World. This is a launch title for the Switch 2. I've been back into this in the last week. I've been doing some online racing. I do got to say that it feels like it takes a little bit too long to get into the online races. There are 24 racers available, so I know that's a lot of matchmaking to be done. But I do wish it was a little bit quicker, but the initial intro to getting into a group takes a while. But once you kind of get your group set, you get into a race. After the race, it only takes maybe 30 seconds to a minute to get into the next match. So I think that's pretty good. You just have to kind of pay the upfront cost there of your time to get into the race and then having fun. I had a couple third place in a row finishes last night, and that's pretty exciting because I've been struggling a little bit on this racing. And I need to improve because I've been playing a lot of this game. So you think I'd be a little bit better at it. I've been trying to blame it on the RNG, been blaming it on the blue shells, been blaming it on all sorts of stuff. But either way, I've been trying to get back on there and get my rank up. And I've never crossed the 7,000 threshold. This game has like a ranking system where the higher your number is. I think I think you start at 6,000. And you're going to rank up. You know, it can be 6,100, 6,125, blah, 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 blah. You go up and down each race that you do. And I have not been able to crack 7,000. I've been at 6,800. I've been at 6,900. And my next goal kind of thing is to crack the 7,000 mark. So who knows if I'll actually be able to do this. But I have been doing some time trials in this game. So that's not something I've really done in Mario Kart World yet. I was doing this a lot in Kirby Air Riders the last few weeks. And it made me, and I was doing this in F-Zero as well. So this had me thinking maybe I should start doing this a little bit in Mario Kart World. It's going to help me dial in what my best vehicle is and what my best combination is. And I don't know. I think I've kind of got my best setup so far. It's either the standard kart or the Roadster Royale. But I have been doing I did the standard bike with Luigi and was having some success there. But I wasn't quite beating my Roadster Royale on every track. So I don't know. I got to play around with this a little bit and try to dial it in because I think that could help me. So I've been back playing this. I've been having a lot of fun with this game. I've been doing some of the open world stuff too, just kind of in between, online races or time trials. I've been doing some of the open world stuff, still making some progress there. I'm still able to drive around. It's not like completely constant that you're running into things to do, but it's not that far spread out. I mean, you're going to run into some stuff, and I keep wondering if there's like a way to checklist and see how many things you've completed. Like the P blocks and the and the coins and the other switches. I think there's a way to see the switches and things like that, but I need to figure out some way maybe to tally up like how far I am and trying to get all these things done, because it would be fun to complete these things, but maybe I just will over time. But I've been having a lot of fun with this game. I was pretty strong in this being Game of the Year for a while. I've been going back and forth on it, and to be honest, I think I'm kind of leaning that way at this point. Game of the Year is going to be next week. Excuse me, I'm still having some deciding to do, but I've been playing a lot more of this in the past week, just kind of trying to remind myself the driving in this game is unparalleled as far as a kart racer. It just feels so good. I've been playing a lot of other racing games that are fun this year in their own merit, but playing this one, it might just be, I don't know if it's a nostalgia play or just for, I don't think it is a nostalgia play. I think there is some of that here because I've played Mario Kart my whole life, but the driving in these games feels so good. The drifting, the hitting the corners, just all that kind of stuff feels amazing. Controlling these characters in this game, and trying to decide if I like the courses in this game has been something. Even doing the time trials, they feel way more wide open. You're one person on this course. These courses are definitely designed for the 24 racers that you have, and I think if I had to pick, I would maybe pick Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I think that's kind of where I still stand, but this game, it's competing up there in my mind just with the whole package of it. Just everything it's doing stuff a little bit different, and I've been enjoying that about it. So I think this is a great entry in the Mario Kart franchise, and who knows, maybe as time goes on this will end up being one of my favorite ones, and I really have been having nothing but fun with this. I think my only complaint is it takes a minute to get into the online matches initially. It has to take some time to put you in a group, and then once you get in the group, the matchmaking is pretty quick after that. So that is just kind of a minor complaint there, but other than that, I've been having nothing but fun with Mario Kart World. I've been mainly being a Luigi racer in the last week. But I don't know if I necessarily like his costumes besides his basic one. I think that's really the only one I like. And as you're racing in this game, you're going to pick up different power-ups, and they're going to change your costume from time to time. And oftentimes it's kind of fun or nice. But Luigi, I think his base costume is the best one. So they've been messing up the way I look out there while I'm cruising. And I got to be looking nice while I'm cruising. So I've been playing Mario Kart World, and I've been having fun with that game a whole lot. That's really been the main thing I've been playing in the past week for real. And I've also been playing some Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. So this has really been, I've been playing a lot of great racing games this year and having fun with them. Sonic Racing CrossWorlds is amazing. And I've been completing the Grand Prix races. I just moved up to the higher speed. I think there's one more higher speed to go, which is pretty crazy, but I have a whole new Grand Prix available. I think there's like 8 Grand Prix races in each like subsector or each speed category, and there's even more that are going to come out through DLC, so I'm excited about that, and I could see myself spending some money on DLC in this game because I've been having fun with it. But I've been completing the Grand Prix races. I just moved up to the higher speed. I just tried it for the first time and lost, so I think that's pretty fun, so there's something to work towards there. And so I've been mainly doing the Grand Prix stuff in here. I haven't really done any online racing in this game recently because there's so much Grand Prix stuff to do that's available. So that's normally my bread and butter with these racing games besides the online racing. Those are kind of my 2 favorite modes. But once you complete the Grand Prix, I generally just kind of go to the online racing. But the time trial aspect's been pretty fun. I need to maybe start doing some of that in Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. And what else do I want to say? I've been trying to, in the Grand Prix, you get assigned a rival each time you go through a Grand Prix. There's 23 different ones that you can be put up against, and now I've won against 17 of 23. So that's something I'm trying to go for, is to get a win against each rival. So there are 6 more to go of those, and I finally spent some of my in-game currency. So every time you do something in this game, you're earning in-game currency, or it looks like tickets maybe. And I've learned that these are basically just for like in-game customization stuff, but it's pretty fun. So I bought some stuff for Tails because that's been the main character I've been using. I bought, what did I get? I got like a title that is for Tails. I got a decal I can put on my car for Tails. I got one for Knuckles as well. And then I finally designed a custom car with the yellow color of Tails. I put some decals on it, so it's pretty cool. I feel like real custom riding around. You can have different custom options. It's kind of the first time I finally dug into the menus and looked at the colors you can change on your car, and you can save like I just said, you can save multiple custom options, which is nice. There's definitely many slots. You can have different styles and switch between them. And each character has their own specific color. I mean, you can use Sonic's color for Tails, but you might not want to. But I did pick theirs a cool black looking car, like a black matte looking color. I don't know the character it was for, but I did use one of those for Tails as one of my options. So I think that's pretty nice, and something I haven't interacted with since I bought the game, but so I had a good bit of currency built up, but I did spend I think I mean, the things get pretty expensive. I bought a couple things for Tails in the Friendship Zone. It quickly goes up to like 1,000 of the in-game currency, and I think maybe like 1,000 is about all I have left. So, and I've been playing this game a lot and collecting that currency. But it was fun to do, and that's been another like layer to this game. And in this game, I've had nothing but fun with this game since I've been playing it too. I think this is an excellent video game, and I think this is one that I'll be playing into 2026, just like Mario Kart World. So I've been having a whole lot of fun with both of those games. All right, so what else have I been playing in the past week? Those have been the two things that I've mainly been playing. I'm trying to think what else I've been playing. I've been back playing a little bit of Hollow Knight, a little bit of Silksong, messing with both of those again. I haven't really made any Yote progress in the past week. I played a little F-Zero GX on the GameCube. And then the last thing I played last night, actually, I put some more time into Pokemon Legends E through A. So I just picked up my file on this, and I played for maybe about an hour. I've been trying to figure out some of the loops in there. There's a main mission, there's some side quests, and I went into a side quest that had a lot of enemies that were really higher levels, so I backed out from that. But I finally went and got a Challenger ticket, so I had to do some of the Battle Zone stuff. So at nighttime, the Battle Zones open up. You can go into the Battle Zone. It's basically a way to rank yourself up through the Z through A challenge. And I was able to go through there and get a Challenger's ticket, and I just got to the point where I could go turn that in. And that's where I saved. So I also went back through some of the zones trying to collect some of the Pokemon. I like that it shows you all the Pokemon available in that zone and which ones you've collected. I think the music in this game is fun. And what else did I write? I've been enjoying the battle system too. I like that you can keep using attacks pretty much 100% of the time. Like, you're going to have your 4 moves. They're going to have cooldowns on them, but you can pretty much consistently be using an attack, so there's really no downtime, which is nice. It makes the battles go pretty quickly. You're engaged the whole time, and I think it's a really nice change to the formula. And I don't really think it makes it too much of a real-time fighting game. I still think it's pretty relaxing, and I had a great time playing this last night, and I don't think I picked this up in maybe about a month or so, maybe a couple weeks or whatever. I guess this game's only been out for a month or two, but I've been enjoying this. I'd like to get some cooler Pokemon in my party. I think I've been kind of taking this slow, though. I think I've been walking around and not really pushing things forward, so maybe more of that's going to open up as I go, but I did play more of this, and I might play some more of this today, actually. I've been in a little bit of a Pokemon mood, and I really haven't been playing too much Pokemon lately, so I should be. So I picked up some Pokemon Legends Z through A and was playing some more of that last night. But that's really been all that I've been playing in the past week. It's been kind of a light week video game-wise besides my racing games. This has been the year of no direction on the Dep Lewis Show, so no genre or theme. I don't know if I've decided what the theme is going to be for next year yet, but I'm going to reveal that in next week's episode, which will be the Dep Lewis Show Awards 2025. This will be the 4th annual Dep Lewis Show Awards. It's going to be taking place the final Sunday of the year. So that's actually next week, which is crazy to think that's already here. There's a small chance I might record it on Saturday if I'm feeling froggy. I've already been working on next week's episode a good bit. I think I have most of it dialed in, but I'm still, like I said, I'm still kind of determining game of the year. But it's all going to be official next year. I got to put a bow on the year. I got to celebrate all these games that I've been enjoying, and it is my favorite show to do each year, and I'm excited, and I really can't believe it's going to be here next week. So if you've been enjoying the Dep Lewis Show all throughout the year, this should be a really, really great one to end the year. I'm going to be naming the game of the year. I'm going to be naming the best game from a prior year. I'm going to start doing my top 10 games of all time each year and looking at how those change over the year over the course of this podcast. I think that'll be pretty fun. And I'm going to have more categories as well. I'm definitely going to be talking about some other podcasts I like. I'm going to be talking about some YouTubers I like, some streamers. Just trying to kind of celebrate all the fun entertainment things that I've been enjoying this year. Personally, and then things I've been watching, and talk about some other people I like as well. So it's going to be a really great show, and I can't wait. So next week is going to be the 4th annual Dep Lewis Show Awards. You definitely don't want to miss it. So that's going to wrap up the first section of the show for this week. That's everything I've been playing, and we still have a lot more show to go. So the midsection is coming up after this music. I'm going to tell you everything going on around the video game world that you need to know. There's actually a pretty decent amount of things to know this late in the year, so that's pretty nice, and you don't want to miss it. So come back after this music. Welcome back to the midsection of Dep Lewis Show, episode 160. This is where I'll tell you about everything going on around the video game world that you need to know. And the first thing I want to tell you about is something I'm always excited to announce and bring up and plan for, and that is Splatoon 3, one of my favorite video games, a Game of the Year winner for the Dep Lewis Show. And they have an upcoming Splatfest, or it's actually called a Frosty Fest because it's in the winter. And this one is taking place to start the new year, January 9th through the 11th. So I guess that is the second weekend of the year. So very excited about that. So get ready for that in a couple weeks. And the question on this one is, who do you spend the holidays with? Friends, family, or solo? And, I think realistically mine would be some combination of friends or family. But I think in the essence, this is being a solo podcast. I do like hanging out by myself, just hanging out with Daisy, who's my dog. I'm going to go with the team solo over here. Just try to represent for team solo, see if we can get a win. I haven't gotten a win in a Splatfest in a long time. And maybe I will. So I always try to play in these Splatfests whenever they come out. It's a weekend-long event in Splatoon 3. You pick one of these 3 teams. All your points, all your wins get calculated at the end in like a team total, and a winner is crowned, and it's very fun to play. They always have a question that they ask, and you can pick a side. You get a t-shirt to wear during the promotion, and it's just really, really fun to do. So Splatoon 3 has an upcoming Frosty Fest. If you want to ride with the team solo, please join that, and we're going to try to take them to the top. Try to get me back in the good graces of the Splatoon winning crew, because I haven't won in a long time. And Splatoon 3 is a wonderful video game. It runs great on Switch 1. It runs a little bit better on Switch 2 even, or it looks a little bit better. I don't know if it runs better, but it looks a little bit better. And is a fabulous video game. I think oftentimes you can get it for $40 US dollars used, and I would just really, really highly recommend it. It's one of my favorite video games of all time. Splatoon 3. All right. So what else is going on that I want to tell you about? I talked about these 2 games in the first section because I've been back playing them a little bit. And there is some news from Team Cherry, the developers of Hollow Knight. And that's the base game, or not the base game, the first game, Hollow Knight, from 2017. And Team Cherry announces they are working on an updated version of Hollow Knight for the Nintendo Switch 2. So Hollow Knight Nintendo Switch 2 Edition incorporates all the updates and enhancements that Silksong received on the platform, high frame rate modes, higher resolutions, and many additional graphical effects. And players who own a copy of Hollow Knight on Nintendo Switch will be able to download the new Nintendo Switch 2 Edition for free when it launches in 2026. And then in preparation for that release, they'll be updating all versions of the original game for current platforms, adding features and fixing bugs. So basically, Hollow Knight's getting a nice, rezzed up, extra beautiful looking Switch 2 version. And then the other versions of the game are getting some minor fixes as well. But I guess the most significant update here will be Hollow Knight getting some visual updates for Nintendo Switch 2. And then Hollow Knight Silksong, which I guess that one does have a Nintendo Switch 2 version already. I think the Nintendo Switch 1 version runs perfectly fine, but the Nintendo Switch just has a few extra bells and whistles visually. But Hollow Knight Silksong, it's been announced they're getting a Sea of Sorrow expansion. So some extra content for a game that released this year, back in September, and people love, and I think this is awesome. That's going to be free as well. So Sea of Sorrow expansion, new areas, bosses, tools, and more. Hornets adventures continue in our nautically themed expansion, coming free for all players next year. So Team Cherry, just Team Value is what they should be called, will keep further details a secret for now, but expect additional info shortly before it releases. So these are 2 games I can see myself just poking and prodding at, and who knows, maybe finishing one day. But they're super high quality. They're super fun. They are not completely full-priced games, and they are getting updates. And Team Cherry just been handling these games with so much care. So please just shout out to them, and please go check these out if either of those sound interesting to you. So that's all the Team Cherry news I got for you. So very exciting stuff there. All right, something else that was announced in the past week is going to be a collection of some older games, but this is a franchise and series and this universe I need to get more into as time goes on, and that's Mega Man. And this one, there's different like sub-series in the Mega Man genre. There's like the mainline games, but there's also some offshoots, and this one's definitely an offshoot, and this one's called Mega Man Star Force Legacy, and they're releasing the Mega Man Star Force Legacy collection. This has been announced for Switch, PS5 and 4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and Steam. It releases on March 27th, 2026. It's going to be $39.99 US dollars. So often, these Mega Man collections aren't completely full price, which is nice, and they often go on sale right now. If you want to get any Mega Man games, there are a bunch of Mega Man sales going on right now, so please go check those out if you're listening to this podcast in real time. But the Mega Man Star Force Legacy Collection will be featuring all 7 games in the Mega Man Star Force series. Additional features like a gallery of illustrations and music. Online play is also supported. And this is a series I don't have any familiarity with. These started releasing in 2006 for the Nintendo DS, so that's pretty cool. I have a whole lot of Mega Man. I have a whole lot of Mega Man to play and try out and get figured out in my mind and figure out the Z and the X and Zero and who is who. And I basically think there's like the Mega Man series, and then there's the X, which is a new character, many later. And then there's like ZX, and that's many characters later. And I think the Battle Network is the grid-based one that came out before Star Force. So, there's still some investigating here to do for me for Mega Man, but I'm slowly learning over time. But the Mega Man Star Force Legacy Collection, the back of the box talk here, it is the year 2200X, and the world has seen rapid advancements in wave technology. Our protagonist, 11-year-old Geostellar, and that's a pretty awesome name for a lead character in a game, is Geostellar. I mean, that's just classic video game character name right there, I would say. And he refuses to go to school as he mourns the disappearance of his astronaut father. So understandably very sad. One night, Geo is at the observatory gazing at stars as he usually does. Suddenly, his transer, and I guess you would know what a transer is if you're a Mega Man fan, but I was thinking that was a misspelling, but apparently that's correct. His transer picks up a signal. I guess it kind of sounds like a transmitter. Picks up a signal from space, and he is hit with a powerful electric shock. When he finally comes to, an alien with an electromagnetic wave body called Omega X, or Omega Z, is standing over him. So pretty cool, and I think this is like a kind of more of a puzzle style, a little bit more tactical game, but please don't quote me on that. But I think most of the stuff in the Mega Man franchise looks cool, so please go check this out if that sounds interesting. Mega Man Star Force Legacy Collection going to be released on March 27, 2026. I think that's the same day the Braves start playing, and I will, talk more about that in the end of the show, because I know the Braves opening day got moved, and that's something I've been talking about each week on this podcast, and I have to update my notes on it because it moved, so I'll be talking about that later on in the show. That's just a little bit of an aside there. All right, so Mega Man Star Force Legacy Collection. Okay, what else is going on I want to tell you about? A Cult of the Lamb is a really fun video game. The base game is normally $24.99. It's on sale right now for $12.49 on Steam, I saw. Developed by Massive Monster, published by Devolver Digital. And there is a Woolhaven DLC coming out for Cult of the Lamb on January 22nd, 2026. It's going to cost you $16.99 US, and it does require the base game Cult of the Lamb in order to play. And also, it's only accessible near completion of the base game, so that's something else to know. So if you have any interest in this, I would say, maybe get the base game first, play through a significant portion, and then if you like it, you can get into the Woolhaven DLC. But there are some different sales going on with this right now. So if you might be able to purchase the base game with the DLC for a discounted price. So that may be worth it, especially if you think you're really going to get into Cult of the Lamb. But in Cult of the Lamb Woolhaven DLC, you return the lost souls of Woolhaven to their spiritual home and learn the long-forgotten history of Lambkind. So this game is extremely fun. This is something I could definitely play more of in the future, and definitely want to keep that on your radar. So Cult of the Lamb Woolhaven DLC out January 22nd. All right, Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls is a game that's coming out next year, and that's a really cool looking fighting game where you assemble your team of legendary Marvel characters in the ultimate 4v4 tag team fighter from PlayStation Studios, Arc System Works, and Marvel Games. This is coming in 2026, no other window or time more specifically, but we got a year-end message from producer Takeshi Yamanaka. And I think these are pretty nice. I think it's pretty cool. I think this game's really done a great marketing push. I think everything they've done has been really, really nice. And I think this shows a lot of care. I think this game looks extremely cool. Something that I think I could get into. And I just thought this was a nice little sentiment here from the producer of this game to, have a little end of the year message. So this is what he said. Takeshi Yamanaka, the producer of Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls. He says, "Thank you so much to all the players who participated in our second closed beta test. We also truly appreciate the many heartfelt messages submitted through the survey. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart. We haven't finished yet reading through every comment, but we are sincerely taking in all the feedback, both the positives and the areas that need improvement. The team is pushing forward with development, and we will continue refining and improving the game based on the opinions you've shared with us. 2026 will be a big year for us. Our whole team is working hard to make this a game that you will enjoy for years to come, a title that will continue to grow with its community. We still have more characters to announce, along with more exciting moments where you'll be able to see the game in action. Stay tuned and happy holidays." So I think that's just a really wonderful, sounds like a pretty nice, caring message from looks like this is going to be an excellent top-tier video game, and it looks like they're doing some excellent top-tier things from the top down. So Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls looking extremely cool. And that was just their year-end message from their producer. Alright, what else do I want to tell you about this week? Well, this is a game I'll be excited for, and the only news here we really got is that it's still coming in 2026, and that's Gears of War E-Day. So the social media account for Gears of War confirmed the 2026 window still. They basically posted an image and said emergence begins 2026. So the back of the box talk is experience the brutal horror of Emergence Day through the eyes of Marcus Phoenix and the origin story of one of gaming's most acclaimed sagas. Definitely one of my favorite franchises in games of all time, Gears of War. The developer of this one's the Coalition, published by Xbox Game Studios, and this has been confirmed so far for Xbox Series X and S and PC. But I am wondering if we're going to get a PS5 version at launch. I think we'll definitely get one after launch, but that'll be something interesting to follow, as I no longer have an Xbox, so I'll be looking to play this on PlayStation if I'm able to, which hopefully I will be. So Gears of War E-Day still coming in 2026, so that's definitely one that I'm going to put on my calendar to be excited for. All right, another game I'm a little bit skeptical of, but they have announced that this is officially coming in March 2026. I don't think there's a completely official date for this, but that is Marathon from Bungie. This game's going to be $40. That's coming out for Steam, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S with crossplay and cross-save. Scavenge the lost quality of Tau Ceti 4 as a bionic cybernetic runner and a PvPvE survival extraction first-person shooter from the creators of Halo and Destiny. I think the ship has just sailed on these. I think we are just seeing these companies that have been developing these PvPvE games, and maybe the battle royales, we're seeing them try to put them out still. I think it's completely oversaturated. I think there's a few of these games that are really dominating the market. I think it's a hard thing to crash into at this point, and I think we've seen some companies cut their losses. I think we've seen some of these companies try it, and I just have a lot of skepticism for this going to be successful, especially with the $40 price tag. I think that's been something we've been seeing with these releases of these style of games, that the free-to-play thing can really help it or really kind of push the audience, and the price tag can really hinder the growth and momentum of these games. And I just fear that's going to be the case here. And I don't know why. I don't really have, I guess I have some, circumstantial evidence from previous releases, not specifically with Bungie in a game, but I just think this is kind of a tough thing to crack into at this point. But I guess you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott. But Marathon is coming in March 2026. So please, I'll be interested to see just kind of what people think of that one for sure. All right, but the Game Awards last week, we got that new trailer for Divinity from Larian. And so this week, it's been announced that Divinity Original Sin 2, the previous release, is now available on the latest generation of consoles. So basically getting a modern gen shine to them for Switch 2, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S. This is a free upgrade of the developer and publisher of Larian Studios for Divinity Original Sin 2. The initial release of this was 2017. It's the critically acclaimed RPG that raised the bar from the creators of Baldur's Gate 3. Gather your party, master deep tactical combat, venture as a party of up to 4, but know that only one of you will have the chance to become a god. So I don't know if this is 100% true, but I guess this is the game that Larian was working on before Baldur's Gate 3. And now they're going back to the Divinity well, which is pretty cool. They are no longer doing Baldur's Gate 3 or Baldur's Gate franchise, and they're back to Divinity. So I think this is a pretty good thing to release the previous game you released in its best form or fashion, and that's what Larian has done here. So they seem like a S-tier excellent studio from my regard, and another one that has just been handling things extremely well. And I think this is really smart here. And if you are interested in going to play Divinity Original Sin 2 in its best form, you can right now. All right, the last two bits of news I want to tell you about for this week. Dispatch is a video game that released on October 22nd, 2025 for PS5 and Windows. It's $29.99 US dollars. I think a lot of people have been liking this. If you want to go watch Giant Bomb, they've been playing this. I know Grub's been playing it. I think Minati's been playing it. I think you can go watch Grub play it. I think there's some VODs of that. But the news for Dispatch is it's heading to Switch 1 and 2 in January of next year, January 28th, 2026. The developer and publisher Ad Hoc Studios, and the back of the box talk on Dispatch is a superhero workplace comedy where choices matter. Manage a dysfunctional team of misfit heroes and strategize who to send to emergencies around the city, all while balancing office politics, personal relationships, and your own quest to become a hero. All episodes out now. Another YouTuber I watch sometimes, Minato Max, he was talking about liking these games a whole lot too. So I think people have been seeing a really positive our people have been having a really positive reaction to these games, so please go check out Dispatch if you haven't heard of it. And the last thing I want to tell you about for this week is just a rumor mill, and that is that Starfield, the game from 2023 from Bethesda Game Studios, is rumored to be coming to Switch 2 in 2026. I think Switch 2 and PS5 is the rumor here. I don't know if this game's on PlayStation 5 already. I guess I don't think it is, but the rumor here really is Starfield is coming to Switch 2 in 2026. And Starfield is the first new universe in over 25 years from Bethesda Game Studios, the award-winning creators of The Elder Scrolls V, Skyrim, and Fallout 4. In this next-generation role-playing game set amongst the stars, create any character you want and explore with unparalleled freedom as you embark on an epic journey to answer humanity's greatest mystery. So I think this game was pretty much I think it was a disappointment at launch. I think it kind of got better over time. I don't know if it ever really hit the highs of what it promised, but I think this is an okay game from what I can suss out. But I think it's cool that it's coming to Switch 2. I think it's been fun to hear how some of these ports are coming to Switch. I think I've been hearing that the Final Fantasy VII Remake is looking extremely good on Switch 2 and going to be one of the best ports so far. I think Cyberpunk has been running good on there. I think Assassin's Creed Shadows have been running good on there. I think Star Wars Outlaws have been running good on there. So I think the Switch 2 is doing some pretty good things third-party wise. And I think as long as these developers are optimizing the games for the specific platform, I think they can have some nice stuff on there and we can get some more third-party options. So that is just the exciting part to me there. So Starfield, the rumor mill says it's coming to Switch 2 in 2026. And so that is all the video game news and thoughts I have for you for this week. So that's going to wrap up the mid-section. We talked about Splatoon 3, the upcoming Splatfest or Frosty Fest. We talked about Hollow Knight. We talked about Hollow Knight Silksong. We talked about Mega Man Star Force Legacy Collection. We talked about Cult of the Lamb, Woolhaven DLC. We talked about Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls, Gears of War E-Day, Marathon, Divinity Original Sin 2, Dispatch, and Starfield. So this really could be the last news update for the year because next week is going to be the Game of the Year or the Dep Lewis Show Awards. So the first section next week will just be kind of me catching up, talking about any games I did play. The mid-section next week will be all the awards. And the final section I'll kind of talk about the sports teams as well and kind of a year-end catch-up on all my sports teams. So unless there's any really, really groundbreaking news, I think I might save it for the new year. So just, thank you to all the news and all the mid-sections of the Dep Lewis Show this year. I think this will be the last, official mid-section with some news in it. So, go news. Very, very fun stuff to talk about all year. And it's pretty interesting that we have some, good bit of news here. The second to last week of the year, still some great news coming out. So the video game news cycle is 365, 24/7, it seems like these days. And that is good for me as someone who enjoys talking about that. So that's going to wrap up the mid-section, but there's one final section to go, the Miscellaneous Talk section, where I can talk about anything I want to outside the video game world. So let's get into it after this music. Welcome back to the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 160. This is the Miscellaneous Talk section, where I can talk about anything I want to outside the video game world. So I want to get into the worldwide world of sports and tell you what's going on to all my favorite teams. And today is a game day for my favorite NFL team, the Carolina Panthers. They're about to play in about an hour and 25 minutes when I'm recording this, and they had a disappointing loss last week. They could have taken charge in the division, and they decided not to. The Panthers lost last week at New Orleans. It was an afternoon game, week 15, and they lost 17-20 at the end of the game. I think I turned this game off with a minute left, and I just kind of knew it was over. And the Saints hit a winning kick to win the game, or hit a kick to win the game, a winning kick to win the game. But just very disappointing. I think the Panthers had more opportunities, and they just did not. It was not their chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime. But Bryce was 15-24, 163 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 sack for 9 yards. Rico had 16 carries, 49 yards, and a tud. Bryce had 7 carries for 49 yards. He was the second leading rusher. Chuba had 8 carries for 29 yards, so a lot of running going on this game, which is nice to see, though. Coker had 4 catches for 60 yards and a touchdown, which is nice to see, but I would like to see Mr. T-Mac, who only had 2 catches for 25 yards, be kind of getting more of the lion's share of some catches. Xavier Legette had 2 catches for 39 yards, and then Nick Scott led the defense, number 21, with 10 total tackles, with 6 of those being solo. And then Ryan Fitzgerald, who I think has been overall a pretty great kicker this year, went 1-1 on his field goals and 2 for 2 for the extra points. But the Panthers lost this game 17-20, and the Panthers are 7-7 after this game, a .500 record, which is not going to help me win my gentleman's bet with friend of the show, Stu Woot. So I need the Panthers to finish with a positive record to win my bet with him. So, come on, Panthers. They need to step it up. They get a chance today, like I'm talking about, in about an hour and 20 minutes versus Tampa Bay at home in Charlotte, taking place at 1 o'clock. That's week 16. And this will, whoever wins this game today will be the leader of the division. And there's only a couple more games to go in the year. So that's very, very important. And I think going to be a tough challenge because this is a division matchups. Those are tough in general. And then I think Tampa Bay really is, they've been the best team in the division for recent history. And I think, they're definitely the team to beat right now. But I think the Panthers are able to. I really hope they don't come out with one of those duds they like to do. I think the offense needs to put some points on the board today would be nice. And if they don't put any points on the board, they are going to lose. And that's very, basic analysis. But that's something that, the Panthers struggle with their offense a lot of times. And they need to come out. They need to be putting some points on the board. They're not going to win. And the defense has been doing better, but they can't hold up to no scoring. So the Panthers today playing Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Next week they're playing the Seahawks. That one's going to be at home as well in Charlotte. That's going to be taking place at 1 p.m. And my fantasy week last week, I had a bye week, which was nice. Since I had the top seed going into the playoffs. But this week I'm playing friend of the show, Sanfi. And hopefully going to be making it into the finals next week. So the very nerve-wracking 4 teams left in fantasy. And hopefully I can report that I'm still playing next week, but we will see. So those are my NFL updates for you. For the NBA, my favorite NBA teams, I'm a halfway fan of the Charlotte Hornets since I'm a North Carolina resident recently. I'm maybe becoming more and more of a Hornets fan, so the scales are tipping. But since last Sunday, the Hornets played at Cleveland. That was after the podcast, and the Hornets actually won 119-111 in overtime. And then Thursday versus Atlanta, the Hornets won 133-126, and I was in the building for that game. It was a rainy night, but it was a really, really great game. I got to see Trae Young play, which was nice. He didn't play much of the game, but he did start, and that was his first game back from injury, so I guess they were being cautious with him. I got to see LaMelo. I got to see Colin Knuppel. I got to see Brandon Miller. I got to see Jalen Johnson. I got to see Ricochet. I got to see Dyson Daniels. I literally got to see everybody who were the star players from my favorite teams play, and it was just a wonderful thing. I got a pretty good seat. I got a good day of price. All those things make me happy. And that was the first Hornets game I've been to this year. And the arena does look a little bit nicer. And the court was their city edition. I don't know if I'm in love with the city edition, but I think it was nice to see the court in a different fashion. I guess it was kind of more back to like the Bobcats colors with like the orange and blue. But I think it's kind of hard to top the current Hornets jerseys because they're so cool. But it was a great time. I had so much fun seeing my 2 favorite teams battle it out, and I think Colin Knuppel was the highlight. Brandon Miller had an insane dunk that really, I don't know if I'm sure I've seen or heard a dunk in person that had the stadium buzzing, but it was really it was a really, really cool buzz after Brandon Miller he dunked on number 27 for the Hawks, and it was like a fast break kind of dunk. It was insane, and I think he got a T for taunting after maybe. I'm not sure, but it was really, really impressive to see. And even if you're a Hawks fan, which I guess I'm a Hawks fan too, but I'm a little bit in between phase here because I've been getting to see the Hornets play, so it's just pretty fun. But the Hornets beat the Hawks Thursday night, 133-126. Saturday at Detroit, the Hornets lost 86-112. I watched some of that last night. Cade Cunningham and it has Detroit looking like a really good team. They were my dark horse I wanted to pick before the season. And I maybe should have just put a $5 bet on them to win because that would have been fun to do. But next week, the Hornets play Cleveland, the Wizards, and the Magic. And then my favorite team, the Atlanta Hawks. Last Sunday, they played Philly around 6 p.m., and the Hawks won 120-117. And then Thursday at Charlotte, the Hawks lost 126-133. We already talked about that. And then Friday versus San Antonio, I watched some of that Friday night. And it was, they didn't really put up too much of a fight. The Hawks lost 98-126. The Hawks play today, Sunday, versus Chicago at 3:30. And next week they'll be playing the Bulls again, Miami, and the Knicks. So I got to remember that the Hawks are playing at 3:30 today. I think my league pass is still active, so I'll be able to watch that after the Panthers are hopefully wrapping up a win. That'll be the plan. All right, so that's all the NBA news I have for you. And then for the Major League Baseball, my favorite team, the Atlanta Braves, are in the offseason. They have moved. If you've been listening to this podcast, I've been talking about the opening day every week, being excited about it. So they moved it one day back, which I think makes more sense. So the season was going to open on Thursday, March 26th versus the Royals. They were going to play Thursday. I think they were going to have a day off Friday and then Saturday, Sunday games. So that's pretty unusual for baseball. And so now they moved opening day to that Friday, March 27, 2026, at Truist Park versus the Royals, still a 7 p.m. start time. So that'll be the day I keep talking about on this podcast each week until it happens, because I can't wait for the baseball to come back. And the Braves have signed a player from last season who, I guess they signed him kind of earlier in the year, but he was injured to start the season, I believe was the case. But Haesung Kim, the shortstop, the 30-year-old shortstop from South Korea, they signed him to a 1-year, $20 million deal. It looks like he's going to be their starting shortstop. I think the player they got, Duran from Houston, is going to be more of a utility player, and I think that's a good solution. I think Haesung Kim has a livelier bat and could have some more potential for an even livelier bat. His fielding seems fine, and I think his vibes and mojo and like team camaraderie, I think is top tier from what I've seen from him last year. I think he's just a good guy to have around the clubhouse. It seems like he has a lot of good positive juice going on. So that was a nice move to see, and I would like to see the Braves, pay another pitcher. I think they need to bring in a starting pitcher, somebody elite. I think they need to get like a really, really strong starting pitcher signed, or maybe two. If you can't get one really big top dog, maybe get two lower tier ones, but they need to get some more starting pitching. Would be the last thing I'd really want to see for the Braves roster going into next season. And some other just general MLB news. A player I really like out there in the league has signed with a team I do not like, and Adolis Garcia has signed with the Phillies on a 1-year, $10 million deal. So the Rangers let Adolis go, the 32-year-old outfielder, and I'm definitely a halfway fan of the Rangers. Mr. Stupwoot lives out there in Texas. I've been able to go to some Rangers games, and they're in the AL, so that's a fun team to root for. And just don't want to see great players go to the Phillies. It's really a big bummer. You don't want to go to the Phillies, you don't want to go to the Mets, and you don't want to go to the Dodgers. If you go to the Mets, maybe I'll feel a little bit sad for you. But if you get paid, I won't feel sad for you, I guess. But if you go to the Dodgers, that's probably the worst. Second worst would maybe be the Phillies. Third worst got to be the Mets. Actually, the order, that probably would be the order actually at this point. Dodgers, Phillies, Mets. Teams you don't want to go to if you want to be in the good graces of myself over here. So that's all the news, all the sports news I have for you. That's all the MLB news in general, and that's all the sports news I have for you for this week. So, go Panthers today against the Bucks. Go Hawks today against the Bulls. And I will tell you how all this stuff went again next week on next week's episode. I'm still going to have some sports update in the Miscellaneous Talk section, and maybe just kind of like a little bit of a year-end recap of the sports world and all the things and all the things maybe some nice things I like to say to all my favorite teams. So that'll probably be the plan for next week. So that's going to wrap up the final section of the show. We talked about the Panthers, the Hornets, the Hawks, and the Braves, and MLB news in general. So that's going to wrap up the final section, and that's going to wrap up the entire show. So I'd like to reiterate some promotional talk from the beginning. Please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. So find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly, places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. YouTube is also a great place to watch replacing games live or check out the videos later. If you'd like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show is available if you'd like to subscribe monthly. That's the best way to guarantee you get the podcast ad-free always. And there are some pretty good discounts going on over there if you'd like to get in early. Also, Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime for any amount if you'd like to support the show. Just thank you so much for listening. And the upcoming week is going to be Christmas, so if you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas to you. If you celebrate Hanukkah or any other holiday, happy holidays to you. Hopefully you will get to see some friends and family. Hopefully you'll get to eat something good. Hopefully you'll get to have some time off work. Hopefully you'll just get to have some fun and wrap up the year. So just thank you so much for being a listener. I hope you come back next week because that's going to be the Dep Lewis Show Awards for 2025. It's always my favorite podcast to do each year. This will be the 4th annual one, and I can't wait to do it. So I will plan on talking to you next week. The podcast really might be a day early next week. You never know. I might be too excited. I've been working on it, and I think I got my categories dialed in, but I guess I could maybe use a few more days to think about it. But don't be surprised if it's early. But either way, next week's episode will be the final episode of the year, and I can't wait. So just thank you so much for being a Dep Lewis Show listener. Merry Christmas to you out there if you celebrate. Happy holidays to anyone, and I will talk to you next week.